Hey there, sleep enthusiasts and reluctant morning people. Welcome back to the channel where we dissect the everyday horrors that society has somehow normalized. Today, we're diving deep into the acoustic terrorists that live on our nightstands, alarm clocks. That sound you just heard? It triggers the same fight-or-flight response as hearing a predator in the wild. Yet somehow, we've collectively agreed to start every single day with this psychological warfare. If aliens studied humans, they'd be baffled. These creatures voluntarily shock themselves awake with sounds they despise, then pay money for increasingly sophisticated devices that do it even more effectively. Let's explore how these morning monsters evolved from helpful timekeeping tools to becoming the universal villain in everyone's daily story. Stick around to the end where I'll share some alternatives that won't make you want to throw your phone across the room. Before we dive into the hellscape of modern alarm sounds, let's take a moment to appreciate that you're watching this video, which means you've survived approximately 11,000 alarm clock assaults in your lifetime so far. Give yourself a round of applause for that psychological resilience. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because misery loves company. And we've got plenty of deep dives into life's everyday annoyances coming your way. Historical background. So how did we get here? Let's rewind. Long before smartphones turned radar and marimba into fight words, humans had much more civilized wake-up calls. Ancient civilizations relied on roosters or the natural sunrise. Even the first mechanical alarm clocks from the 1500s used gentle bell sounds. Imagine waking up to an actual rooster instead of the digital approximation of one having an existential crisis. The real turn to the dark side happened during the Industrial Revolution. Suddenly, being late wasn't just inconvenient. It could cost you your job. Enter the mass-produced alarm clock, the capitalist tool that ensured workers arrived at factories on time, and thus began humanity's toxic relationship with arbitrary wake-up times and the devices that enforce them. Think about it. Before the standardization of time and work schedules, humans largely followed their natural circadian rhythms. You woke when your body was ready or when the sun rose. Now we've engineered a society where we need to be jarred out of our deepest sleep to accommodate meeting schedules and production quotas. Even the word alarm should have been our first red flag. It literally means a call to arms or warning of danger. We start each day with a mini emergency broadcast system blaring in our ears. The psychology of alarm hatred. Let's get scientific for a second. Why do alarm sounds trigger such primal rage? The answer lies in our brain chemistry. When that alarm blares, your body experiences an immediate surge of cortisol, the stress hormone, elevated blood pressure, and a sudden jolt out of REM sleep that leaves you feeling like you've been hit by a truck. Imagine if every morning, instead of an alarm, a tiny person lived in your room whose sole purpose was to throw ice water on your face and scream, "Productivity now!" That's essentially what we're doing to ourselves. The worst part? Our brains are incredible at forming associations. After just a few weeks, that special alarm tone you picked, because it was less annoying, has become the auditory equivalent of stepping on a Lego. Some people report feeling physically ill when hearing their alarm sound outside of its morning context. Ever notice how no villain in movie history has ever used an alarm clock sound as their evil calling card? That's because even fictional supervillains aren't that cruel. And let's talk about sleep inertia. That zombie-like state where you're technically awake, but your brain is still 90% in dreamland. Traditional alarms completely ignore this transition period. They demand immediate alertness when your brain is still trying to figure out if you're you or the dragon you were riding in your dream 30 seconds ago. Scientists studying sleep have confirmed what we all intuitively know. Being startled awake is literally the worst way to transition from sleep to consciousness. Yet we persist with this bizarre ritual like cognitive masochists. The evolution of alarm sounds. Let's take a journey through the greatest hits of morning misery. The classic mechanical brrrring. Simple, effective, universally despised. This is the OG of sleep disruption, the sound that launched 1,000 morning grumps, the 1980s digital beep, 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 the sound that launched 1,000,000 snooze buttons. Nothing says welcome to the day like a relentless electronic pulse designed to be impossible to sleep through. Early 2000s radio alarms. Nothing like having local traffic reports jolt you awake. Because what better way to start your day than with a stranger's voice discussing highway construction? Modern smartphone alarms with deceptively pleasant names. Gentle Rise. Narrator, it was not gentle. Morning Meadow. actually the sound of anxiety in audio form. Cosmic, as in cosmically disruptive to your sleep cycle. Harp, because being jolted awake by a heavenly instrument somehow makes it better. The cruel irony? We keep looking for better alarm sounds, not realizing it's like searching for a pleasant paper cut. Within weeks, your brain will hate whatever sound you choose. And don't get me started on the snooze button, the admission of design failure built right into the product. We know our primary function is so awful, you'll need a temporary escape mechanism. It's the only product I can think of that builds in a feature specifically designed to avoid using the product's main function. Imagine if your toaster had a not quite ready to toast yet button, or your shower had a 5 more minutes of being dirty lever. The shared cultural trauma. Alarm clocks might be the only universally hated experience that crosses all cultural boundaries. Show someone in Tokyo, Toronto, or Timbuktu the classic iPhone alarm sound, and watch them physically recoil. We've created entire cultural norms around this shared hatred. The 5 more minutes negotiation with ourselves, the multi-alarm strategy, set alarms at 6:45, 6:50, 6:55, 7. The across-the-room placement technique to force ourselves out of bed, the increasingly aggressive alarm names, get up now you lazy potato, the partner who hates your alarm, morning argument. Look at this. This isn't a morning routine, it's a hostage negotiation with our own desire to sleep. We've even developed personal alarm identities. The single alarm disciplinarian who rises immediately, the snooze button addict who hits it exactly 3 times, the alarm clock hoarder who needs 5 alarms minimum to function. Our relationship with our alarm has become so complex, it could qualify as the most dysfunctional relationship in our lives. It's the first thing we interact with every day and the thing we most want to destroy. The climax, the modern alarm hell. But friends, we've reached the apex of alarm clock villainy in the modern era. Today's alarms don't just wake us, they're integrated into our health apps, judging our sleep quality, tracking our movements, and sending us reports about how poorly we slept before shocking us awake. Good morning, you slept terribly, achieved only 12% deep sleep, woke up 7 times, and now it's time to function as a human being. Good luck with that. Sleep tracking has introduced a new level of morning anxiety. Now we're not just tired. We're tired with detailed metrics about exactly how tired we should feel. Nothing starts the day better than data-driven disappointment. And the worst offender of all? The alarm sound that has become the universal trigger for morning rage? The default iPhone alarm radar, that ascending electronic wail that has likely ended more peaceful dreams than any sound in human history. Studies show that hearing this sound triggers an immediate stress response even in people who don't own iPhones. It's transcended technology to become a cultural trauma response. We have created a society where millions of people start every single day with a sound they actively hate. Is this living? Is this what we've become? Sorry, I got carried away there. But you get it, right? And don't even get me started on those smart alarms that promise to wake you during your lightest sleep phase. Great concept, but in practice, we've analyzed your sleep patterns and determined the optimal time to wake you is exactly never. But since your meeting is at 9, here's your alarm anyway. So what can we do about this acoustic terrorism we inflict upon ourselves? Here are some alternatives that might make mornings less villainous. Sunrise alarm clocks that gradually brighten your room, mimicking the natural dawn our ancestors woke to. Smart wearables that vibrate gently to wake you during lighter sleep phases. Alarms that increase in volume gradually rather than starting at full blast. Scent-based alarms that release pleasant aromas to ease you awake. Yes, these exist. The controversial but effective human alarm clock, also known as a morning person roommate or early rising dog. Alarms that require solving puzzles or physical activity to turn off, transforming your hatred into problem-solving energy. But the real solution, and big alarm doesn't want you to know this, is going to bed early enough that your body wakes naturally. I know, revolutionary concept. Some brave souls have actually abandoned alarms entirely, training their bodies to wake naturally through consistent sleep schedules. These people claim to feel more refreshed and less stressed. They're probably lying, but it's a nice thought. As we wrap up this journey through morning misery, let's remember that while alarm clocks may be universal villains, they're also necessary evils for most of us. The relationship we have with our alarm says a lot about our relationship with time, productivity, and self-care. Maybe the problem isn't the alarm itself, but a society that values productivity over natural rhythms. Or maybe alarm sounds really do just suck that much. Either way, we're all in this together. reluctantly dragging ourselves out of bed one beep at a time. If you enjoyed this exploration of everyday villainy, smash that like button and hit subscribe for more deep dives into the things we all silently hate but never talk about. Sleep well, sweet dreamers, and may your alarm sound slightly less traumatic tomorrow morning. Don't forget to share your most hated alarm sounds in the comments.